Pylon listeners, we are back and ready for week 7 of the NFL season. There's a lot to discuss, but before we get into all that, let's introduce the Pylon crew. So I'm Big Z representing the Detroit Lions. Let's get to the rest. We got Barney representing the Bears.
What's up, boys? Good to be back. I'm in a better attitude now that Aaron Rodgers is gone and in the forefront of my mind. Let's go.
Then we got Kinger representing the Packers.
Gentlemen, as always, great to be back with you. Go Pack. Let's talk some football.
And then last but not least, we got Remy, who's enjoying his bye week, representing the Vikings.
Minnesota, take a week off. You deserve it.
All right, gentlemen. So that means we have 3 games to talk about. The Lions traveling to L.A. with a Jared Goff revenge game. Matt Stafford going against his former team. Then we got the Bears traveling to Tampa Bay. I don't know why I'm doing this in like the afternoon, late afternoon and early afternoon order, like reverse. But anyways, the Bears traveling to Tampa Bay. And then the Packers hosting the Washington football team. So let's get into that one first, shall we? Kinger, the Packers, 8.5-point favorites or 8-point favorite, wherever you see it, over this Washington football team that's had an interesting, time on offense and a pretty struggling defense. I think they've given up bottom 3 defense in the league right now.
You're exactly right.
They might be the worst, actually. I got to go back and check.
I'm looking at it right now.
It's definitely bottom 3.
Second most yards per game allowed outside of Seattle.
That's kind of crazy considering how they performed last year. So, I mean, how do you feel about this matchup? I know they got a couple picks off Mahomes last week.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good. Washington is a team that definitely on the defensive side of the ball has underperformed this season. Coming in on paper, you look at that defense, specifically that front 7, and you would think it's as good as any in football. The linebacker play has really struggled there, and specifically, it's a little bit of a shock. Jack Del Rio, Ron Rivera, guys that are, defensive-minded coaches, former linebackers themselves. I mean, you look at it, and it's, they haven't executed the way that they would, and they've got some big names. All that first-round talent up front. They just have been surrendering a lot of yards. Now, granted, that secondary isn't necessarily anything to write home about, but for Washington to be second to last in the league with yards per game allowed, I don't think there'd be anybody out there that predicted it. And then you look in regards to the offensive side of the ball for Washington. I mean, they're banged up right now. The injury report today, just on offense alone, Gibson didn't practice today. He's got a shin or ankle injury. McLaurin didn't practice. He's got a hamstring injury. Curtis Samuel didn't practice. Brandon Sheriff didn't practice. De'Ami Brown didn't practice. Sam Cosmi didn't practice. The Skins are the Skins.
Doesn't it seem like this across the NFL in general? There's like a million injuries this year, more than usual. I mean, the Ravens have 16, the Lions have 13. I know the Packers have had their issues. You're listening to not Redskins, the Washington football team here. It's just crazy.
Yeah, no, and to flip it around on Green Bay's front, we're getting some good injury news. They did remove Jenkins completely off of the injury report today. We're still dealing with a little bit. We're still a little bit banged up. Kevin King did come back for limited practice today, but Josh Myers is going to be out for some time. The big news, though, for us boys, David Bakhtiari returned to practice today for the first time after the ACL injury. Not quite sure if he's going to suit up this week.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If you were gonna give me my judgment on it, I think they're gonna wait till the Thursday night game for.
He's still on the IR, right?
No, they removed him off the PUP list.
Okay.
He did his 6 weeks. So now what happens is he has 3 weeks to play in a game. So my projection is they sit him this week, especially with Jenkins being full go again. Lucas Patrick came in and did a pretty damn good job at center last week, so that's big to have him back. And overall, I'm just feeling good about this game. I think, the offense still needs to be a little bit more crisp. Jair's injury on the defensive side is progressing, seems to be as well. So I think slowly but surely the Packers are getting healthy. Coming at home, wearing those sleek throwback jerseys that we all saw today. I'm really high on Green Bay this week, and I like them a lot to win big this weekend at home.
Just on the IR thing, though, aren't you still on the IR, but you have that 3 weeks, and then any day during those 3 weeks you can be activated? That's how I thought it was. You're not part of the.
You could be right, Big Z. I
think that's what it was, because that's why I was saying, like, I don't think he's going to play this week, but he has those 3 weeks. Then they can activate him tomorrow, or they can activate him 2 weeks from now, but he's not part of the active roster until they say he's ready to go. That's my understanding of the new rule.
Yeah.
Because I'm familiar with it with the Lions right now and Taylor Decker and stuff.
Yep. And that's what I just want to say. I think, again, going back to that defense, Washington overall second to last in the league. They're dead last in passing yards allowed per game. I like Rodgers in this offense to have a bounce back week. I mean, not that they played completely poorly against the Bears last week, but I see a big week for these guys in their future against really kind of a lowly Washington team right now. Who knows who's going to play their weapons. They do have some weapons on the offensive side, but who knows who's going to be suited up and how healthy. So, like I said, I'm feeling real confident in this one this week.
Absolutely. Do you have a prediction you want to throw out there then?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Best bets a little later. I'll just kind of give you guys the foregone conclusion. I am going to take Green Bay this week at the -8. I'm going to go ahead and say it's 35-14.
All right. And correction. I do see 7.5 now on DraftKings, actually. So, and we're recording this on October 20th at 7 at night. But Barney, thoughts? Taylor Heineke going to do it?
I think he's right. I love Heineke. I think he, I like Heineke, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But I mean, to echo, Kinger's statement, I think I'm not just saying this because of the jerseys, because those jerseys alone, and I think the Bears and the Green Bay Packers have one thing in common, is that our throwbacks are 10 million times cooler than the ones that we wear now.
I'd agree with that.
Those look similar. They look kind of similar with the stripes on the shoulder. Are they the exact same, just different colors? I didn't see a side by side. I'm just going.
I think it's more just like blotted with green. Like there's a lot. I don't know, but I'm gonna say, dude, I think you guys win this pretty handedly. I'm gonna say 27-13.
All right, Remy, come on.
Yeah, when you talk
is he
about
going to do it
jerseys,
this week? Is he going to do it this week?
Jerseys that you speak of, they just went to an ESPN magazine and looked at the Oregon Ducks and said, we choose that. So yeah, they just look like the Oregon Ducks.
They have the same colors, Remy.
Same colors. It's just no creativity. Nothing really woos me with these jerseys at all. I hate the Packers.
These are from 1950.
And it's just going to be a typical, if you're going to beat Green Bay, this is the score you beat Green Bay by. It's 20-17 in favor of Washington. Big Dick Taylor Heineke is going to come out and just prove what he did, what he can do. He's been on the Vikings roster. He knows how to hate the Packers. Come on now. Washington, fight for old DC. Let's go.
If the Packers played the Houston Texans, Remy, would you predict the Texans?
If the Packers play any single team in the NFL, I predict against the other. I will never root for the Packers in my life. It's encoded in my DNA.
No one's saying root for them.
These guys are
these are predictions
either. Yeah, these guys are predictions for us to win.
And I predict that the Packers are going to lose.
This is Groundhog Day. We talk about rooting and predictions every week with this guy. I love it.
I can't do it. I won't do it. Nobody's going to make me do it. Washington 20-17. Let's go.
All right.
Get out your money and bet and take a little risk.
Okay. All right, Remy. So I do like the Packers here as well. Taylor Heineke, such an interesting. I mean, he was a backup on the St. Louis Battlehawks, the XFL team, which is kind of crazy. And now he's been starting for this Washington team, and probably put up the best performance of anybody in the playoffs last year against Tampa Bay. So it's kind of. And I do have Heineke in my fantasy team, but I do think the Packers do control this team. I do think that Washington.
That's a
team
bad
is just
fantasy team if you got Heineke starting.
Well, it's a 2-quarterback league. It's like you put 2 quarterbacks. So I didn't. I was doing the fantasy draft while driving, like making a 4-hour drive back from Wisconsin that weekend. So I had my fiance doing the draft for me in the seat, and I didn't realize that I needed 2 quarterbacks until like midway through the draft. So I had to kind of just panic pick. I had Fitzpatrick and then picked up Heineke later. But anyways, Packers 27, Washington 17. So that's my prediction. So three people predict the Packers win, and the ever predictable one going against them. So let's
go
move
Washington.
on. Let's move on to the second game. So Barney, you and I both have teams that are double-digit underdogs this weekend.
Sheesh.
So your Bears going to Tampa Bay. I think is it a game of the week because it's at 325.
Yeah.
12-point underdogs against Tampa, over under 47. This is a Tampa Bay team that you beat last year. Tom Brady didn't know it was fourth down. He had them all confused. That meme, where he's holding up the 4. Are we going to get similar results here? Is it going to be a close game? What are you feeling?
Big C, you're taking the words out of my mouth. Brady has been absolutely dealing this year so far, and that's problematic for us here because that ultra competitive dude, I know that he's got nothing, against the Bears. He's got nothing to prove against the Bears, but he was turned into a meme last year, and I know that psycho has had this game circled on his fucking calendar. Right. And I am just ready to just bend over and take it this weekend. I'm worried. Their passing attack is one of the hardest to deal with Brown, Godwin, and Evans. I think all three of those guys could be a 1 on most teams.
Good old line too. They have a good old line.
Yeah, man. Our pass rush though, our Bears pass defense, that's been a unit that we can't really be too proud of ourselves. And that kind of scares me. That's the matchup that worries me. Our pass rush is one of the best in the league. We had the most sacks in the league after 6 weeks, but our DBs, our nickel corner just gets absolutely murdered. And you give a guy like Tom Brady brains and like just the skilled receivers, and then also just the want and desire to put us in the grave. Like I know he does. I'm a little worried. Other matchups that I'm kind of, right now, Akeem Hicks is probably not going to play. He pulled his groin midway through that game with.
Was it on that sack?
It was on that sack with Aaron Rodgers last week. Robert Quinn, I just want to say shout outs. I got prayers up for him. He's tested positive for COVID, so I really hope him and his family are all right and are gonna get through this. But he's the other guy on our pass rush that's really been absolutely having a resurgent year for us. And when you couple those guys out, I have faith in Travis Gibson, right? But when we're going up against one of the best lines in the entire league, this Tampa Bay line has only given up 9 sacks in 6 games. I mean, that is unworldly for me. For the Bears who gave up 4 sacks versus an absolutely depleted and shitty pass rush from the Packers. They don't have Zadarius Smith out there.
They gave him 9 against the Browns in one game, right?
That's a fair statement. Not shitty, but they were depleted.
Yeah, and we gave up 4 sacks, and it just doesn't even look competitive. I'm worried because Shaquille Barrett and JPP, they're some tough dudes. So, I'm kind of worried about that.
Vita Vea?
Yeah, Vita Vea. I mean, they're run stopping. They don't. Here's my
Mustipher needs to bounce back this week versus Vea for sure.
Dude, yeah, man. I don't know. Like Mustipher's just so outsized and he's just getting his ass whooped at the point of attack. But we got our work cut out for us. We've been really good at running the ball this year. We're inside the top 10. We're averaging, I want to say, like 120 yards a game. Something that the Bears, like Nagy doesn't like to run the ball. He's a run by short pass kind of guy. And the fact that he's kind of been forced to run the ball is kind of crazy. But we're facing this stifling Bucks D that's ranked second in yards per carry, and then first in yards per game. They're only giving up 54 rushing yards per game. And if there's one thing that I know Matt Nagy loves to do, is he really loves to play to the other team's strengths. So I'm sure that, we're gonna, I'm sure we're gonna have the training wheels on Justin Fields. I'm sure we're gonna try to pound the rock. Having Matt Nagy as our head coach is the same logic as signing Casey Anthony to be your babysitter. Like it just makes no sense why you would do that. You're setting yourself up for failure and misery. But it's just in a game where you would put the pressure on the Tampa Bay's only Achilles heel on all 3 phases of the game. The only thing they have not been good at is defending the pass, because all their defensive backs are hurt. They're like ranked 29th in the league in yards per attempt. They're giving up a lot. They're giving up 70% of pass completions. Like, I mean, so I just know that there's going to be, if we pass the ball, it's going to be nothing but screens and hitches. And it's going to be a tough day for us to get the ball moving. So, I mean, I'm not really excited about this matchup. Tom Brady, he even had that compliment to Aaron Rodgers this week. He was on somebody's national show, and he was like, yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Aaron Rodgers. I know he was like, he's a steak owner, with the Milwaukee Bucks, but apparently he's a steak owner in Soldier Field.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, dude, that's not what I wanted to hear from Tom, who's about to fire the cannon. So, one thing I will say about this game, and I think it's because Vegas knows, this is the first game a Bears game has had an over/under line at 47 or higher in more than 2 seasons.
Whoa,
really?
That's a stat right there.
Dude, 47. 47 is not high.
Yeah.
47 is not high. And what worries me is they think it's going to be like they think Tom Brady's putting up a 30 burger. And I mean, dude, I just, I hope the fuck not, but I could totally see this maniac going after us. I don't know. I hope our bend don't break defense, which has been fucking fantastic. Our Renzo D has been awesome this year.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, I hope we gotta be really good at all phases, and we're hurt, man. We got a lot of guys. So, if you want a prediction, I think Vegas has it right on all those lines that they're putting it out. And I'm going to say 27-16 Bucks is probably what's going to happen.
All right, Remy.
The fan in me tells me we win 13-10.
What was the score last year?
Dude, I can't even remember that, to be honest. I'll try to pull it up while you guys give up your predictions.
Yeah, go ahead, Remy.
Yeah, no, I like this Bucks team a lot. I think what the spread's at 12.5 is a little steep. I do think the Bears cover, but I just think they're too much to handle. But I do think it's a close game. I'm gonna go with 28-24 Tampa Bay.
All right, a close one. And
like
that goes
that.
over. That goes over.
That goes over.
Goes over. Justin Fields, man, he'll rush one in, and if you bet the prop on that, you're gonna win some money.
Oh, and by the way, it was a Thursday night game. Nick Foles 243 yards, and the Bears won 20-19.
20-19. And for the record, I think the Bears can keep it close. I think we do have the talent, but I just think our head coach is a moron. So that's the reason we won't.
Kinger, go ahead.
You guys predicted it last week that Fields was going to go over 200 yards against the Packers. It looked like for a while he was going to. I'm going to say that they're going to do it against Tampa Bay this week.
Wow.
Tampa Bay's defense, to me, that secondary is still very banged up. They're bottom third in the league in passing yards. I do understand and agree with your point. Brady's going to be a little bit out for a vengeance after last year, and the Bears not having Robert Quinn, it looks like this weekend, is definitely, with how well he's been playing, is going to be impactful. But I still kind of like the Bears to keep it close. I don't know if I'm going to go 30 burger. I think I'm going to go 28-20 Tampa Bay at home. But I like Chicago to cover it. Yeah, I like Chicago to cover this for sure.
Fuck yeah, boys. Are you feeling a little guilty from last week that you're being nice to me right now? What's going on?
I'm just everybody's talking about. I'm just still not a huge believer in Tampa's defense right now, and that's the big thing for me. And
I would agree with you too, Kinger. And I think that rushing yards per game is a little you can look at it, but teams don't run the ball a lot against this defense because that pass defense is so susceptible. I think that's why that number is a little lower too.
Sure.
I think, for instance, like the Patriots, threw it 40 plus times. It's the only time they've done it all year. It was against the Buccaneers. a lot of teams are just throwing the ball at will against this Buccaneers defense, and they've been surviving. But I think that's also why that number's so low, because people just kind of say, no, this secondary is not good. We're going to throw against it. So I would agree a lot with what Kinger just said. Fields goes for over 200 yards. It's not saying much, but
I would love
I guess it is for the Bears. But I do think they keep it close as well. I'm going to go 28-23 Tampa Bay.
All right. One score. What Bears got the ball at the end of the game. They just don't deliver. I'm out. Hey, as long as we're in it, I'll be happy.
Absolutely. So there you go. There's our predictions for the Bears, who, again, 12-point underdogs. That's a 325 game in Tampa Bay. Let's get to the last NFC North game. That is my Detroit Lions traveling to L.A. against Matt Stafford and the Rams. 14.5-point underdogs in this game. Over under 51. If you're feeling really lucky, the money line in this is 6.5 to 1 for the Lions. But this is going to be a little emotional. Just Matt Stafford is my favorite Detroit Lion. Well, I guess the Ndamukong Suh is my favorite Detroit Lion.
Oh, what a scumbag, dude!
Oh, get out of here! Ndamukong Suh was so
Calvin
much fun
Johnson?
to watch.
How many
Not
people
even
did
Barry
he legitimately
Sanders?
step on?
I love D lineman first and foremost, especially having played in the position in college. And Ndamukong Suh is just, oh my god!
You also love scumbags.
His
I
first
would
4
have taken
years.
Nick Fairley over Ndamukong Suh.
Oh, get the hell out of here! Get the hell out of here! No.
Suh, and then I can't even say his name. Sue is the biggest scumbag, but was awesome when he stepped on Rodgers intentionally. But
wasn't intentional.
Oh my god!
Sue gets such a bad rap. He gets a bad rap, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay.
So
does Vontez Burfict, dude.
He's a Vontez Burfict of D lineman.
I'm just telling you, Ndamukong Suh is my favorite Detroit Lion to watch. And I know, and I know, and that I say that, and he ditched us for the Dolphins for a huge payday. I mean, it's hard to blame him. It got a shit ton of money. That was end up not being.
And you get to live in
contract.
Miami instead of Detroit.
Yeah, I mean taxes, right? Is that what you're talking about?
There was one thing
that's
I
exactly
read.
what I referenced there.
Speaking about living in Detroit, Noah Fant came out in an interview that Jordan Bohannon did for Iowa, and said Jordan asked him what team he did not want to go to if he were to be drafted, and he said Detroit. And I
don't want him. Why would I want that guy?
Well, you got the just as good, if not better, tight end in Hawkinson. They both came out that same draft, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was funny. Just Detroit kind of gets a bad rap.
Well, that's just not right. That's not right. So
Detroit's on the up and up.
Dan Campbell,
absolutely
baby.
is. Absolutely. But anyways, we're getting away from the main focus here. Goff, revenge game, baby. Going to LA. He's going to prove to McVay, hey, I can throw it over 20 yards. He hasn't done it yet this year, but he's going to do it this game, I hope. At least once or twice.
To who?
I don't know. Khalif Raymond. We just activated Geronimo Allison from the practice squad. So
There's your boy,
that's a
Kinger.
receiver with a name that some people know
Gmo.
in the league. The fact that he was on the practice squad with our current wide receiver corps is not a good sign for how he's looked in practice, probably. But nonetheless, he is a receiver that has played in the NFL before, so that's a positive for us. But anyways, this is gonna be a rough game. The Rams are rolling right now. Cup going against a young secondary does not get me excited. The Lions have kind of gotten by, but I mean the offense needs to do something. I pray to God that we'd run the ball over 30 times in this game. We didn't do it last week. Every week we just get away from it slowly over the course of the game, and then it ends up costing us. We need to control the clock if we want any chance of competing in this game. Taylor Decker looks like he might be out for the year as far as I don't know. I don't know what happened to his finger. It's a finger injury, and he might be out the whole year. I don't know what he did in practice one day to his finger, but
Too many oil checks, man.
I guess it's like he got ran over by a car or something, or someone sliced it off with a knife. I don't know what's going on. Actually, that might be better. Just get rid of the finger so he get back on the field at this point.
JPP.
Yeah. But either way, the Lions, just so many injuries. This Rams team is loaded. They're playing to win, it all this year. And I do want to see Goff get a little more aggressive, get a little pissed off, something like that, and just make this at least interesting. But the Lions need to establish a run. The Rams don't have a great run defense. This defense for the Rams in general has not been up to what they were last year necessarily. So it is kind of susceptible. I don't like that this game's on the road, though, unfortunately. So I don't think the Lions pull this out. I have it at 31-20, the Rams winning. But I do have the Lions covering that scenario, but I will not be touching the spread. But I'm curious, what do you guys think about this game? Do the Lions at least keep it close? I know they got blown out by the Bengals last week, but every other game besides that has been a competitive game. I just want to throw that out there. Let's go to Barney.
I hope this is a competitive game too, because it's fallen into my best bets here. It's not necessarily, I know you didn't call it a revenge game for Stafford, right? It's literally just a revenge game for
Goff.
Right?
Yeah, because he didn't like the way the trade went down. He publicly acknowledged that. McVay also acknowledging that he didn't think he handled it too well. I think he was just happy to get rid of Goff as soon as possible. So I think that's why they didn't communicate with him.
I really hope Goff goes out there and gets that first punch in. So I'm gonna tell you, I think it's gonna be competitive, but I think there's way too much firepower on that team. I think they have some of the best route running guys on that Rams team, and it's gonna be a lot for your defense to handle. I'm gonna say 37-23.
Okay. Yeah. And
covers.
Yeah. Stafford. Yes, it does. Stafford. What do they say? Good teams win, great teams cover, right?
Yeah.
But Stafford 16 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions this year. He's on a record pace. By record, I mean like his personal record, career records. But Kinger, what do we got?
I don't see this game being close at all, if I'm being honest.
Oh,
the only way that I think it does is if the Rams call the dogs off in the second half. We'll see. We'll see if Stafford even takes the field in the third quarter. And I say that a little bit as a joke, but I see the Rams getting out early on this. Detroit offensively, like you've already talked about, they've got so many issues. The quarterback position. The Rams D isn't quite as good as I think it was last year, but still, that offensive firepower, the Rams are going to put up some numbers. And I honestly think McVay does maybe want to bury Goff a little bit. I don't know. Just, maybe there's a little bit of motivation. So, exactly. That's a good way to put it.
The Rams definitely won't have a problem keep on scoring in the second half if it gets to that point.
I'm going to go 38-17 Rams.
We can't even get to the 20-point mark, Kinger. We haven't done it yet this year. You don't think we can do it? We did it the first game of the season against the 49ers in hurry-up mode. But
no.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Come on. All right. Remy, come on. You're the biggest Lions fan on this podcast besides me.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna have to agree with Kinger on this. The Rams are actually, aside from the Minnesota Vikings, of course, the Rams are my favorite to make the Super Bowl. And I think it's 30-13, a touchdown and maybe 2 field goals, or something like that. Nothing too crazy, but I can hardly name any Detroit players. I got DeAndre Swift on my fantasy team now.
Jamal Williams.
We're rolling that. Yeah.
Jared Goff, Taylor Decker, TJ Hawkinson.
It's hard,
Matt Nelson.
That's about it. Yeah.
Trey Flowers.
I just think the Lions need a little more pep in their step. I just need to see him be more aggressive.
You bet your ass Dan Campbell is going to get this team ready after that last week.
It might, but I think it takes at least a full season of whatever goes on behind closed doors with Dan Campbell. If he's that crazy publicly, imagine how crazy he is privately. I'm going to go 30-13 in favor of the Rams.
Big Z, is Justin available for comments since you're facing his there?
Producer Kid J here. I would like to say that I think the Rams are going to win. I said on Zach's other podcast that I helped produce as well. I said 30-10, and I kind of agree. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams keep in their starters until they're at least like 20 points up, because that's what happened last week against the Giants. They were up like
stop
28
these
points.
scenarios where you're up 20 points in the middle of the third quarter. It's not happening. I'd refuse to acknowledge it right now because it would just be another boring Sunday for me. So I cannot accept that right now.
Jared Goff doesn't scare me. He's like 25th ranked in like quarterback DVOA or DYAR right now, and he's like very complacent, and he's everything that the Rams traded away, and Stafford is everything that the Rams wanted. He just threw a no-look pass to Cooper Kupp. I think he's going to throw a few more this Sunday, and it's going to be pretty awesome. So.
Well, the Lions know Matt Stafford's no-look passes. They're going to have a guy waiting right there, and he's going to be like, "Oh shit, I probably should have looked that way, huh?"
Speaking of,
tell yourself.
Let me tell you something about Matt Stafford. I love the guy. Second favorite line in my lifetime besides Sue, as I mentioned. But and Kelvin Johnson, fun to watch. Yes, although he's gone down a little bit for me just in terms of his comments since he's retired as a Detroit Lion. But no, Matt Stafford always has that one throw every game that kind of screws up the team, and I look forward to seeing that in this game. I want to see the full Matt Stafford experience, the one that the guy that just can't make that last throw sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. I want that sometime this time.
I think that if it wasn't for Matt Stafford chasing that MVP title, I think he would probably relax, take it easy on you guys. But I think there is just no way he doesn't have at least 4 touchdowns.
Well, I did put money on him to win MVP, so that'd be the only positive out of that. Yeah, Remy, you want to throw in one more thing here before we move on?
So if we're talking big margins of victory, who do we think is going to who do we think has a better chance of being upset? Is it Detroit upsetting the Rams, or is it Washington upsetting Green Bay?
Or the Bears upsetting Tampa? That's a bigger underdog than Washington.
I mean, I'm even going to be the first to say Washington is a step-up football team better than Detroit. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. And the Rams have looked like probably the best team at football, most complete team thus far. So, I mean,
the Cardinals.
Cardinals. Oh, I take that back. You're right. Thanks
then
for
the Rams,
correcting.
probably.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that.
Okay. Let's. So that there's our predictions on the Lions Rams. Barney and I do have them covering at least. So there's that.
That 0.5, man.
Hey, that's all it takes. That's all it takes sometimes.
Yeah.
But let's move on to our last segment. That, of course, is best bets. Barney, Kinger, Remy, rough week last week. We completely forget it. We don't acknowledge it on this podcast going forward. So we don't even need. Do we want to go over the standings at least, Barney?
Hey, this week we get it all back.
Yes, we purposely delayed this podcast by a day to take a little more time to analyze. We will get this back on track. Don't worry.
So it's a pretty unique circumstance right now. Big Z is comfortably at. You are so below level on us right now. It's not even funny. But
hey, I'm like the Lions. Dead last.
But we got a 3-way tie right now.
Nearly winless.
Do we really?
We got a 3-way tie between Remy, Kinger, and I. So this. It's anybody's ball game. Well, it's 3 of ours ball game.
All right. So who's feeling the most confident about their picks this week? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Barney, go for it.
All right. Well, you know what? I had a couple games in here, and I kind of switched them up as we were talking. Yeah, which is always good advice to hear. But I'm gonna start off with those Green Bay jerseys. Once you said it's 7.5 right now, I loved it. I think it's gonna go 7.5. Green Bay wins that one. The next game I really like. I'm gonna toss out a team total. I'm going. I hope Goff comes out there and gives him a fight, because I need Stafford out there as much as possible. I like the Rams team total over 33.5. I like that almost in the first half. Uh,
I mean, the
no-
Bengals barely
no
eclipsed
offense.
that last week, and they blew them out. So I just,
Yeah, no, totally.
caution,
totally.
but you're feeling it.
And then my last game, I really like this matchup. Indy, I think it's Sunday night or Monday night. I don't know. It's one
Sunday
of the
night.
Sunday night. Indy's really good at stopping the run. I think they got some dogs. DeForest Buckner's from San Fran. They're going out to San Fran. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I like Indy in the points. I think right now they're getting 4. So
4.5.
I like 4.5. I'll take 4.5 with Indy.
Yeah,
All
let me
right,
just
so
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say those are Barney's 3 best bets, Kinger.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and hop in here. Let's not make a big deal. I'm also on Green Bay. I am also on the Indianapolis Colts, and I am on the Los Angeles Rams minus 14.5 versus Detroit. So 2 of the 3, Barney, you and me are the same this week.
And all right.
All right.
Also, I want to make one quick last stat about that. You talked about that run D of Indianapolis. On the offensive side of the ball, Carson Wentz, 3 games with a passer rating over 115, no picks. He has the most passing attempts in the league right now without an interception. So quietly, he's been productive this season. Not great, but disrespected. That's what I'm saying. So I like Indy. I think they're getting some momentum as well. So that's the last comment I wanted to make about that.
All right. Remy, you want to go?
Yeah, first off, I've liked the Cincy team all year, and
That's your second favorite team.
second favorite team, yeah, kind of, sort of, I guess. Against Baltimore plus 6.5, I think they can do it. Jamar Chase is incredible. Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase is incredible. I think that's a pretty easy cover. It should be an easy cover. And then I'm gonna mirror you guys on Colts San Francisco. I'm gonna take the over at that. I'm gonna take the over. I think Jonathan Taylor's gonna break a few off, and he's gonna also do well in my fantasy league for me. And then Chicago, if they're gonna compete or even think about wanting to compete in any sort of type of playoff game, at least has to cover 12.5 points. So I'm taking Chicago plus 12.5.
Remy, you beautiful bastard.
Let's make some money.
All right. There you got it. So mine, I'm going to go back to the 3-team 7-point teasers. I went with a 5-1. I was 4 or 5. The damn Chargers got blown out last week. That was the one.
What are the odds on this one?
This is the back. This is plus 130. 3-team 7-point teaser. So I like teasing down the Packers to a 0.5 point. I like the over teasing it down 7 points in Cincinnati, Baltimore. So that one's at 47. So teasing that down to 40. I think there's gonna be a lot of points in that game. Definitely over 40. I'm pretty comfortable about that. Then the last one, I keep going back and forth about the third one in this, but I think I am going to lean putting the Bears at plus 19. I like that a lot. I think that's a huge spread. They can maybe even cover late if it comes down to it. So that's my 3-team 7-point teaser. We're gonna get back on the right track there. Then a couple others. I like Seattle on Monday night as 4.5-point underdogs. I don't think that Saints team is that great. I think this should be a much more even line, at least down to 3. And I like that the fact this game is at Seattle. So getting even a Russell Wilson-less team, 4.5-point underdogs in Seattle, I like that because I think that's going to be a really tight game down to the wire. And then the last one, I got to roll with the Titans at 5.5. I think Derrick Henry and that rush off. Now, what their defense can do will be fascinating. I took the Titans. What was it, last year or 2 years ago in the playoffs that they faced each other? 2 years ago, where they had the big early lead, and then the Chiefs came back and even covered that game. But I feel like the fact that this game is in Tennessee gives me a little more confidence. So I'm going to go Tennessee 5.5 at home, because that opened at 3.5 and has moved to 5.5. So a lot of people are still high in the Chiefs, who are not a great team.
They finally covered last week. Finally. Well, they've covered actually a couple weeks in a row. They beat.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they're making up for lost time there. Hopefully, they're not regressing to the mean for one more week. But nonetheless, those are my best bets. I wanted to take the Giants, I think, but but
that sounds
will
like
lean
12 and
against
0. I think that sounds like 12 and 0, boys.
I think it's 12-0 to a bounce back week for the boys.
Well, I can tell you, it only goes up, right? It either stays even or goes up from here. But gentlemen, I think that's going to wrap it up here. So those are our best bets. We gave all predictions for NFC North. Remy, and the Vikings fans, enjoy your weekend off. Just relaxing, watching the other games. And the rest of us will just be, stressing out like a normal Sunday. But anyways, everybody, thank you for listening. Twitter at the Pylon Pod, Instagram at the Pylon. Please message us on there with your predictions for the games, maybe some of your best bets. Always look forward to that. Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, please download, please subscribe. Really greatly appreciate that, and please leave a review. Otherwise, Barney, Kinger, Remy, and thanks to our producer, Kid J. And everybody, we just hope you have a great weekend watching some Week 7 NFL football.